This episode of Android Authority is brought to you by Transformers Battle Tactics. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Joe Hindy, the Android Authority app guy, and welcome back to Android Apps Weekly. We've got some headlines, let's talk about it. Last week we talked about Sega's plans to remove games that didn't fit their standard. This week 3 applications got the chop, including Afterburner Climax, Jet Set Radio, and Super Monkey Ball 2. On top of that, 16 games were removed from the Apple App Store, so we expect the removals to continue. A new Humble Bundle is out now, and this time it's all about developer Artifex Mundi. You can pay whatever you want and get 3 games, pay the average and get 4 additional games, or pay a flat $9 and get all 9 games. Those games would cost you $41 if you bought them individually, and it's also a great way to give to charity. There is now evidence to support that Google will begin its Designed for Families program at Google I/O this year after developers received an email asking them to opt into the program by May 28th. For those who don't know, Designed for Families is essentially a family-friendly version of Google Play that will feature apps and games for all ages. According to a report from Bloomberg, Google may also be launching a new photo sharing service at Google I/O this year. It would be totally separate from Google Plus photos, and it would let you share to other social media like Twitter and Facebook. We'll tell you more about that when we find out more ourselves. In our last bit of news this week, Spotify has announced a slew of new features. Among them is a new Now Start page, Spotify Running, which is music specifically picked for exercising, video clips, news clips, original content, and a whole lot more. If this hasn't rolled out yet, it will be very soon. For even more Android apps and games news, updates, headlines, and new releases, don't forget to check out this week's newsletter, which is linked in the video description below. There we round up everything that happened this last week, and it's the best way to stay up to date in the world of applications. If you're so inclined, you can also sign up using your email address, and we'll beam that information straight to your inbox every single Friday. Okay folks, let's talk about the Android apps and games that made a big splash this week. Twitch released a sort of update this last week that includes some security fixes, on-demand video, and the usual array of bug fixes and performance improvements. The interesting part is that instead of just releasing an update, Twitch has actually released a whole new application that starts at version 4.0. This is due to the security fixes that could not be implemented properly if it had just been updated. So in order to get it, you'll have to delete your current installation and download the new one, which is linked in the video description below. Ire Blood Memory is the first action RPG out of developers 10 Birds, and this one is rather interesting. It adheres to an old school feel, which means it's tough as nails, you will die a lot, and that is perfectly okay with us. The game also features the ability to summon companions and a combat system that requires actual thinking, strategy, and your environment. It's definitely no Dark Souls, but it's still pretty fun. Layout from Instagram has actually been around for a long time as an iOS exclusive, but no longer because it's officially been released for Android. This application allows you to create collages from your photos and then post them to various social media sites. Some other features include the ability to find pictures with faces in them, integrated Instagram filters, and a whole lot more. The best part is you don't actually need to use Instagram to use this application. In fact, you don't need an Instagram account at all. It's worth a shot if you like collages. Sunburn is a new game out of Noodle Cake Studios, the developers responsible for Mikey Shorts, Punch Quest, and many others. In this retro-style game, you play as a ship captain that has lost your ship and your crew. You must navigate the harshness of space using your jetpack to find your crew without being hit by a comet. You must also do so before you run out of oxygen. It's $2.99 with no in-app purchases, and it's a pretty decent little retro game. Mix Radio has finally made its way to the Google Play Store. The UK-based streaming service is a competitor to Pandora and attempts to create playlists of music based on your tastes. The idea is that the more you listen, the better it gets at predicting what you like, but you can also listen to curated playlists as well if that's your thing. It also supports offline mode, has over 35 million tracks, and a fairly modern design. As always, thanks for watching this week's show, everybody, but let's get down to some serious business. Transformers Battle Tactics is an online game where you assemble a team of Transformers and duel it out online versus other players in real time. The premise is fairly simple. You build a team that can have Autobots, Decepticons, or both, and then you take that team online to face other people. In battles, your Transformers have their own stats, and you have extra bonus powers to help you along the way. There are a whole bunch of ways to build your team and use your powers to your advantage. DNA also throws events fairly frequently where almost every player gets a little bit something for participating. It's a good time and free to download, so it won't hurt to give it a shot. Once again, I'm Joe Hindy, the Android Authority app guy. While you're here, why not subscribe to the Android Authority YouTube channel? If you're hanging out for a minute, we have a couple of awesome videos for you to watch right over there, and they're also linked in the video description below for you folks on mobile. Finally, don't forget to check out the written companion, which is in the video description below, and don't forget to sign up for that newsletter. As always, thanks for watching, everybody, and have a wonderful day.